Shalom, shalom, family. You know, it is dangerous for us to think that we can just get up and interpret scriptures. We just take up the book and read it and get the understanding. In this video, we look at the danger of trying to understand the scripture with idolatrous hearts. Idolatry is very dangerous and it has great implications to the interpretation of the good news. Let's look at the danger of interpreting scriptures with an idolatrous heart. If we are interpreting scriptures by idolatrous hearts, we are going to get false interpretations. Let's look at an example. In John 20, verse 20, start at verse 25.
Verse 25.
Yeah.
The other disciples therefore said unto him,
This is Thomas, yes?
We have seen Adonai. But he said unto them, Except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe.
So, this is where Thomas said, as they quote, as Christianity would say, my Lord and my God, as they would say. Now, because their hearts are idolatrous, when they see that, the idolatrous hearts locks onto it and say, he's calling Jesus God. That's what the idolatrous, because that's what the idolatrous hearts want to see. Because, Son of Man, they have what? Set up their idols in their hearts. So because we have set up the idols in our hearts and we see this, our hearts say, yes, Jesus is God. But if you look at the context in verse 25, it says, except I shall see, I will not believe. Except I shall see, I will not believe. Go over to verse 27 now.
27.
This is when Hamashiach presented himself to Thomas. Go ahead.
Then saith he to Thomas, Reach hither my finger.
Thy finger.
Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing.
But what?
Believing.
Mm-hmm. After Thomas thrust his hand in, Thomas said,
And Thomas answered and said unto him, My Adonai and my Allure.
So people see this and say, oh, he's calling Yahusha his Allure. Read verse 29.
Yahusha said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed.
So we have to look at the context now. In verse 25, Thomas said, except I shall see, I will not believe. And Mashiach is saying in verse 29, because you have seen, you have believed. And Mashiach is not saying because you have seen, you have believed that I am the Most High. He's saying that in verse 25, it said, the other disciples said to Thomas, we have seen Adonai, we have seen the Master. This is the whole context of his belief, that Hamashiach was what? Raised from the dead. This is what he did not believe. Except I shall see in his hand the print of the nails, etc., I will not believe. Believe what? That he was raised from the dead. But if you go to Romans 10, verse 9, it shows you the two things that are matching in John 20, verse 8. In John 20, verse 8, when he says, my Adonai and my Allure, read Romans 10, verse 9.
Romans 10, verse 9.
This is what happened in John 20, verse 28. Read it, please.
Okay, Romans 10, verse 9. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth that Adonai Yahusha, and shalt believe in thine heart that Allure hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved.
You seeing it? It's very simple. He confessed the Master Yahusha when he says, my Adonai. And he believed that Allure raised him from the dead when he says, and my Allure. So he said, my Adonai. And then he said, and my Allure. It's like he said it in shock. You see someone and say, my Adonai, it's really you. And they say, my Allure. Because he's now believing that Yahuwah actually did raise him from the dead. This is it. But the idolatrous heart wants to worship a man as the Most High. And so the idolatrous heart says, he is saying that he is Yahuwah. Let us worship him. This is how dangerous idolatry and masked idolatry actually is. This is why we have been teaching people from a long time. We have an article on our website. I think we had LORD. I think we did it for Christians. So I think we had My Lord and My God. What does this mean? You can go and read that. That was did years ago. And we have been trying for years upon years to show people the distinction between Yahusha and Yahuwah. All right? To keep people away from idolatry. But let's go back and retract. Let's look at the commandment against idolatry. Because the disciples would have known this commandment to know that they cannot worship this man as the Most High. How can you have these commandments and these men come now and are actually going against it and be righteous? Hamashiach could have rebuked them. If this was when he says my master and my Alua, and he meant that he was worshiping Yahusha as Alua, Yahusha would have rebuked him. Because even when the rich young ruler says, good master, Hamashiach said there's only one good, and that is Alua. Yeah? And when he spoke to the woman at the well, he said, Yahuwah is a Ruach, and they that worship him must worship him in Ruach and Amat. He was always telling you. And he also said, my Father is greater than I. What is wrong with us people? What is wrong with this wicked idolatrous heart in us? Son of man, they have set up their idols in their hearts. That's what we have done. Set up the idols in our hearts. And this is what they did to us with Christianity. And because they have set up this idol in our hearts, we are stuck with it. And we cannot, absolutely cannot separate the Most High from the Messiah.